Shalom, shalom. All praises. And give a big call to Allah, Yahweh, Bashem, Mashak, Yahweh Shah. And then Ezekiel, the Battle Axes. Just here to bring out a class. It was a week, start our week off with a lesson to keep us diligent and understanding what's going on with this. So the name of this lesson is from the title, it says a heritage. This is our heritage, not religion. So our people and different people in this society don't understand that this has nothing to do with religion at all. These laws, statutes, commandment was given to us for a heritage. This is our heritage among all nations. This is the laws, statutes, commandments. This everything that from the end of the book, from the front of the book. This is the real, actually black history, right? So-called black, but we are the Israelites, and through these curses, how we identify who the children of Israel is, because it's prophesied that we will be lost and be sold into slavery, that we have evil out to our brother. All these curses, it all falls upon a certain group of people. Everything is listed in Romans 20:15. So we're gonna get this thing started. First precept we're gonna go into. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 4:16. Got the brewer with me. Help me out in reading. Israel, y'all bear with me. Left my sword at camp, leaving early to get to the plantation, so I'm kind of scratching. I'm scratching.
You said Ecclesiastes 4:16?
That's 4:16.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 4, verse 16. There is no end of all the people, even of all that have been before them. They also that come after shall not rejoice in him. Surely this also is vanity and vexation of spirit.
So the point is, there's no end of the people. So they want to say that God cast away his people, that the Israelites are cast away. They think that we're being replaced. We can't be replaced. Most times, he says in Jeremiah 31 and 35, if the sons, let's get that. See, I didn't even have that. There's no end of the people. So where are these people? Who are these people? These Jews.
You want to pull it out?
Yeah, you can see that. I said, Lord, to get a son.
35 and 36.
Yeah.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 35. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 31, verse 35. Thus saith the Lord, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinance of the moon, and of the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea, when the waves thereof roar. The Lord of hosts is his name. If those ordinances depart from before me, saith the Lord, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever.
Let's read up. Go to 33.
Verse 33. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 31, verse 33. But this shall be the covenant that I shall make with the house of Israel.
With who?
With the house of Israel.
Most High made these covenants with the house of Israel. Right? No other. It says the house of Israel. Understand that. Read.
After those days, saith the Lord, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their God, and they shall be my people. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know the Lord, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith the Lord.
So this haven't took place yet, right? So we still teaching on the street corners in the classroom. We still getting this knowledge, but it's going to a new covenant. But the point is that we always had a place in the Most High eyes. We always had it. He made a covenant with us and us only. Read on.
From the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith the Lord. For I will forgive them their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more.
Have you not forgot our sins? Have you been forgiven for our sins? That's just showing the problem that this covenant is not in effect yet. Right? Read.
Verse 35. Thus saith the Lord, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinance of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves thereof roar. The Lord of hosts is his name. If those ordinances depart from before me, saith the Lord, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever.
He say, then. So that's just saying that the son is still here. It's an everlasting covenant that he's making with the children of Israel. Right? So let's get into this. Let's get into this heritage. I just wanted to pull that, let them know there's no end of the people, and the Most High had created a covenant with his people, Israel, and Israel only. And let's go to Sirach. Let's get into it. Let's go to Sirach 34 and 23. Showing you that this is a heritage. 24, 23?
Yes, sir. The book of Sirach, chapter 34.
24. That's what I was saying.
The book of Sirach, chapter 24, and verse
23.
23. All these things are the book of the covenant of the Most High God.
All these things are what?
All these things are the book of the covenant of the Most High God. Even the law which Moses commanded for a heritage unto the congregation of Jacob.
They say, even the law which Moses commanded for a heritage. Did it say religion? This is a heritage which is commanded upon us into the congregation of Jacob. We know Jacob, surname Israel, right? We are Jacob, the 12 tribes. The 12 sons of Jacob made Israel, right? So the congregation, we know who the congregation is, right? Because in it say the congregation of Jacob. Let's get the congregation for him. Let's go to Psalm 74 and 2. Psalm of the congregation. We are the congregation. There you go, precept on precept. You get the read out.
The 74th Psalm, second verse. Remember thy congregation.
Remember, O Israel, read.
Remember thy congregation, which thou hast purchased of old.
Of old. Remember the days of old. Remember us from old. We the same ones. There's no end of the people. Read.
The rod of thine inheritance.
The rod of what?
The rod of thine inheritance.
It's inheritance. We the rod of thy inheritance. Read.
Which thou hast redeemed this Mount Zion, wherein thou hast dwelt.
He dwelt with us in the midst of Israel, and Israel only. Let's get another precept on heritage. Let's go to the classic. Let's go to Sirach 17 and 11. Just showing y'all there's nothing, you're not going to read anywhere where it's talking about a religion. They come from the Latin word religio. This is not a religion. This is our heritage. These laws, the books, commands, it's a book of how we guide ourselves through our daily walk. Our instruction manual. This is our instruction. This is the basic instructions that we have to live by. This is where we get our moral, civil, ceremonial, sacrificial, all these laws, 5 technical laws. This is where we get our laws, right? Where's Sirach 17?
17, 11.
11. Let's get all right, I'm like, go ahead. Start reading.
The book of Sirach, chapter 17, verse 11. Beside this, he gave them knowledge
Knowledge.
and the law of life for an heritage.
He gave them knowledge. This book, the Law of Testament, is knowledge. That's why I understand is. And the laws of life for an heritage. And this one again, heritage. We see heritage, right? Nowhere in this really see anything about religion, right? Salaki. Gotta stop eating the table. Salaki. Alright. Salaki, Israel. Get this thing together. Read the heaven again.
Sirach chapter 17, verse 11. Beside this, he gave them knowledge and the law of life for an heritage.
Right. Read on.
Verse 12. He made an everlasting covenant with them.
He made an everlasting covenant with them. Right? Talking about us, Israel. Right? Read.
And showed them his judgments.
Read on.
Their eyes saw the majesty of his glory, and their ears heard his glorious voice. And he said unto them, beware of all unrighteousness.
He warning us to beware of our unrighteousness because he knows we're going to go through these tests and trials. He knows we're going to go through the going and possess these land where he promised us that we'll be going into other nations and they'll be having our unrighteousness and all kind of idolatries and all kind of wickedness going on outside of the covenant, right? Read.
And he gave every man
I should end that right there. Read on.
And he said unto them, beware of all unrighteousness. And he gave every man commandment concerning his neighbor. Their ways are ever before him, and shall not be hid from his eyes.
Oh, yeah.
I just finished verse 15.
Now you jump down to 17.
Verse 17. For in the division of the nations of the whole earth, he set a ruler over every people. But Israel is the Lord's portion.
So Israel is the Lord's portion. So for the division, he divided the nations, and the whole earth he set a ruler, every people. Everybody got their own rulers. Every other nations got their own gods. But Israel is the most high portion. Right? So let's get another precept. And we're going let's go to Sirach 33 and 12. Saying the same thing. It's like Israel about this phone keeps slamming on us. Don't get that out. Psalms.
You said Sirach or Psalms?
Psalms 33. That's how it is. Say.
The 33rd Psalm, the 12th verse. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, and the people whom he hath chosen for his own inheritance.
It's a precept. People he chose for his own inheritance. I can't think of enough. For his own inheritance. We are that inheritance. Let's go to Sirach 44:23. These are precepts showing that it's a heritage.
The book of Sirach, chapter 44, verse 23. And made it rest upon the head of Jacob. He acknowledged him in his blessing.
Hold on, make it rest upon the head of who?
Of Jacob.
No, Esau.
And it rest upon the head of Jacob.
Right, read.
He acknowledged him in his blessing and gave him a heritage.
He gave him a what?
And gave him a heritage.
Once again, This is our heritage. We must take this thing in pride. It's a beautiful thing to see our people that come back to their heritage, come back and understand that this is that we've been missing. We've been missing. Everybody else have their heritage. How come we don't have heritage? We have our heritage. It's been in front of us this whole time, but we have not had that knowledge or understanding that this is our heritage. We always thought this was a religion. This was something that you can just do. You can put on and put off. No, you gotta put this thing on daily. This is our lifestyle. We do this without murmuring and claiming. We do this because this what the Most High has introduced and showed us and welcome back, bid us back to the marriage, right? He come back for his lost sheep. Read on, Art.
And gave him a heritage, and divided his portions among the 12 tribes. Did he part them?
So who did he divide it to?
Among the 12 tribes did he part them.
The 12 tribes of Israel. This is for us. But some kind of way around the lines, we got lost. And it's prophesied in Jeremiah that this will happen to us. Let's go to Jeremiah. Let's go to another classic. Jeremiah 17 and 14.
The prophet Jeremiah, chapter 17, verse 14. Heal me, O Lord, and I shall be healed. Save me, and I shall be saved. For
where you at?
17, 14? 17 and 4.
17 and 4.
Okay. So Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4. And thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee.
Hold on, it say even thyself. Us Israel, we shall discontinue from our heritage. We discontinue from our heritage, from our understanding, right? Read.
And thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not.
Prophecy. We are serving our enemy right now to this day. And we didn't know this land without the slave ships. We didn't understand no English. That's was in my spirit coming into the truth. I always wondered how do we supposed to be black and we speak English. Mm-hmm. What did we speak before we got out? What did we speak before we got here? Mm-hmm. What we do before we got out of slavery? Who were before then? I always hear that. Working like a Hebrew slave. That was those proverbs
in those bywords.
That we would understand. We have to bring something to church. We have to go to the church and show this is exactly. That's how we recognize what's going on. That's how we came back into this truth and this knowledge of knowing that it's a heritage. It said, even thyself shall discontinue from thy heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thy enemies. Right? That's Deuteronomy 28 and 64. 68 all day long. We have to serve our enemies. Right? Let's get that.
You need to finish that out?
Come on.
And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, and shall burn forever.
Piss the Most High off. He had to show us. It's not for our destruction though. Let's 68.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
Not your friends.
Unto your enemies.
Right.
For bondmen and bondwomen. And no man shall buy you.
That's exactly what happened. That was exactly what happened. Soon we got them slave ships. They stripped us from our identity. They beat this white Jesus in us, right? They beat Christianity into us. Easter bunnies and keeping their holidays. we got mad people walking the streets yesterday at camp with green on, leprechaun up, clovers, thinking they part of this St. Patrick's. But they can't even keep their own feast days. They don't even want to come back to their own heritage. We want to do everything else but please the Most High. Right? And that's where we fell off at. But that's understanding that these commandments and these words and these scriptures are what's gonna sustain us, right? Right? We gotta get back to we gotta get back to it. We gotta remember the days of old. Right? Let's go to the number 32 and 7. I just want to I gotta bring out the curse. Let's understand that this is what happened to us. That's how we got cursed. We lost our heritage. We became cursed as a nation of people, right? But now, as to get back, we got to do what? We got to remember the days of old. We got to seek out our fathers. We got to come back to these law, statutes, commandments. Because that's the only thing that's going to sustain us in these trying times, right? When you get there, we're going to Deuteronomy 32 and verse 7.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 7. Remember the days of old.
That's what we must do, Israel. We must remember the days of old. We must come back to the law, statutes, commandments. We must go back to the scriptures and read. Everybody want to keep you out of the Old Testaments, thinking that it's done away with. But this is where our history is, right? This is where we get our understanding. This is where we understand what our forefathers went through, for to be an example for us to show us when we go through things, what we should do in those times, and how we should react to certain situations that we go through. It tells the different histories, how different kings and stuff dealt with these different nations. And we can go in the scriptures and identify, now we know who the biblical nationality is, everybody that's on this earth. That's why I start off with that scripture in Ecclesiastes 4:16. There's no end of the people. There's no end of the people. We're the same people that then before time, they're the same people now. They changed the name to change the game. So by us coming back to our heritage, we can go in this book and actually get our history. We know what happened before slavery. Everything in this book, it coincides with everything. It's history. You can look it up. It's a crime shame in this time that we live in that we can't actually just with the technology that grasp of our hand, we can go look and figure out what's going on. But we understand that too, why some people can't get it. All right. It says, verse 7 says, remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Read on.
Remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee, thy elders, and they will tell thee.
And that's the scriptures. Get back in the scriptures. Get back in and get to understanding what's going on. What happened with Moses when he led the people out of Egypt? All right. What happened to the sister Judith? How she stood for him, and even with the men of the governors at the time of Israel and advising them, right? And Solomon, and then all the famous kings. Read on.
Verse 8. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance.
The Most High divided these nations. So we got to understand, we never was together. It was always a separate. That's why these people have a perpetual hate for us. We was never together. There was always a beef. You go back to Jacob and Esau, they were born in the womb. There was always a beef. These two nations, to this day, you still have that perpetual hate and beef for each other. It's a reason for that. And it all makes sense when you come back and understand that it's a heritage, right? You understand why history. Read on, huh?
When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam.
He separated the sons of Adam. Remember thinking about, go on, read on.
He set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
Right, because Israel is the portion that matters. Read.
For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance.
You hear that? Inheritance. They go hand in hand. Heritage, inheritance. This is our inheritance, right? Let's go to Deuteronomy 4 and 6. I'll go there first. Let's go to Deuteronomy 4 and 6.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 6. Keep therefore and do them.
Start at 5.
Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that ye would do so in the land whither ye go to possess it. Keep therefore and do them.
And what?
And do them.
And do them. So this is Moses. He is proclaiming to the children of Israel. When we talk to these laws, statutes, and commandments, the statutes and judgments, and the commandment, and you should do them. Wherever we go, whatever land that we possess, whatever land that we in, we should keep these commandments. Why? Read on.
Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations.
You hear that? This is your wisdom. This is our wisdom and understanding, right? It don't get no, you don't get no much more understanding. Because wisdom of this world is foolishness. But when you understand the wisdom get the mindset of the Most High, then that's the forward of ruler than rubies and gold, right? Read on.
Which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
So when these other nations see us keeping these laws, statutes, commandments, they say which they should hear all these statutes. So they gonna have these, they gonna get in these books and they gonna understand it. And that's what happened. They got in our books, they got to understand it. And that's why to this day, you'll hear in the court system what it's called the judicial systems, because they got their laws, their format of their laws and stuff from the scriptures, from the Torah, right? I went to my lawyer office probably about a couple months ago, as in litigations, and you go in there and they have books on books on books. They have books civil. They got criminal, you know, they got so many different books and so many different laws, right? And it's hard for our people to keep these laws that I got to, but they can keep the laws of this world, right? And but my people don't have a lot of criminal records, and if you do, you know, you gonna start to stay about that thing. But you sin against your God every day. So they took our laws and tried to modern day system. That's why it's called judicial system, right? They say, surely this will be is a wise and understanding people. Read on.
Verse 7. For what nation is there so great, who hath God so nigh unto them, as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for? For what nation is there so great that has statutes and judgments so righteous?
So what?
So righteous.
Righteous. Right? This is our righteousness. Read on.
As all this law, which I set before you this day.
That's right. So these nations, they understood that. And when they seen us for keeping these laws, this is why I squinted. And let's go to Isaiah 33 and 6 real quick. There's something.
You said 33 and 6.
Yeah, Isaiah 33 and 6. Because that's the key thing. It's wisdom, knowledge.
The prophet Isaiah, chapter 33, verse 6. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times.
Shall be the what?
Shall be the stability of thy times.
Read.
And strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure.
When you fear the Lord, this is when you get to understand that. You get to understand when you come back to your heritage, understand who our God is, that's you become a treasure, right? So wisdom and knowledge to be the stability of our time. So when we come back and understand our God and our laws and statutes, commandments, and start to get up under this covenant, this protection, this is our protection. This is going to be our wisdom. This when you get up here, you're going to understand you're going to be occupied in prophecy. So like 39 and 1. We're going to understand what's going on in these times, right? We can watch and pray. But you got to be in this word. You got to know what's going on. You got to be keeping the laws, statutes, commandments. You got to be keeping these feast days. You got to be keeping the Sabbath. You got to be, wearing your fringes, being diligent, right? Because this is a heritage, it's not religion. They made religion out of our books, make doctrines, false doctrines. Right? So let's get into this heritage, man. Man, let's don't let we the chosen. Let's go to Jeremiah 3:19. I know I wanted to go. I wanted to pour that jewel, read in that jewel too. That's what I want to add up.
Said Jeremiah 3:19.
Yeah.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 3, verse 19. But I said, how shall I put thee among the children and give thee a pleasant land, a goodly heritage?
A goodly what?
A goodly heritage.
So he wouldn't put us in land, he giving us back our heritage. All right? He had placed in that land and multitude increased. He gave us a goodly heritage. Right? So we know that this thing is about Israel. So he's a chosen seed line. Right? So let's show you how the Most High favored us so much. Let's go to 1 Chronicles 16:13. He chose us out of all these nations.
The book of 1 Chronicles, chapter 16, verse 13. O ye seed of Israel, his servant, ye children of Jacob, his chosen ones.
Is who?
His chosen ones.
Out of all the nations, out of all the people, he chose a certain seed line. You only have I known. Out of all the nations of the families of the earth, you only know Israel. We that chosen seed line. He separated us from the other nations. He told us not even deal with the other nations. Because we've been going to every nation had us in captivity. All these different nations. We went to 7 captivities, 7 major and 7 minors. First it was the Egyptians, and then we went through the Assyrians, and then after the Assyrians, we went to the Babylonians. Then the Babylonians, we went to Persian Medes, Greek, Rome, right? And modern day America. We've been in 7 other captivities in the midst of it, right? But the Most High chose us. Let's go to Amos 3:1. Put this thing together, man. Amos 3:1.
The book of Amos, chapter 3, verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you.
You will punish who?
I will punish you.
That's why we going through these curses. That's why well, God loves everybody. He don't love everybody. No. He like, how come we the only one getting punished? Because you the one that he dealing with. And he only gave his judgment and statutes to Israel. So we at the end of the day, we the one got to deal with these punishments. Right? He only gave his judgments to us. That's Psalms 148. Just bring that out real quick. Yeah, I'm out my sword, but it's so long. Because his judgment and statute was given to us. He said he only live I known. So he only dealing with Israel. This is our heritage. Read on, huh? Read that Psalms 147 verse 19. Slacky.
The 147th Psalm, 19th verse.
Say that.
He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He hath not dealt so with any nation.
Right.
And as for his judgment.
And as for his what?
And as for his judgment.
As for his judgment, read.
They have not known them.
They haven't known them. He's not dealing with the other nations. That bring me to another precept real quick. 2 Ezra 3:36. The other nations ain't got nothing to do with our God. This is our heritage. We gotta take pride in this thing. 2 Ezra 3:36. I'm moving. I swore, man. I proved it. Lock it out. Read on.
The book of 2 Ezra, chapter 3, verse 36. Thou shalt find that Israel by name hath kept thy precepts, but not the heathen.
Read that again.
So 2 Ezra chapter 3, verse 36. Thou shalt find that Israel by name hath kept thy precepts, but not the heathen.
But not the heathens. See, this thing, when you get into this word and you understand that this is our heritage, you understand that you got enemies. Everybody ain't our friends. And you will understand what's going on and what time it is. It's listed in the scriptures who our enemies is. So I'm gonna bring out a couple of scriptures where it show you list the Gentiles of the enemies, and then we're gonna bring out let's go to 1 Ezra 8:69. Just gonna give y'all some of our enemies, since we knowing that he divided the nations, right? 8.
First Ezra chapter 8, verse 69. The nation of Israel, the princes, the priests, and Levites have not put away from them the strange people of the land.
So that's what we have. When we go into the land, we're supposed to be dealing with these people. At the time, they listen to who the people they were dealing with. Read.
Nor the pollutions of the Gentiles.
The pollution of the Gentiles, these other nations. Two forms of Gentiles. These are the actual Gentiles, right? Read.
To wit, of the Canaanites.
The two.
The Canaanites.
Africans.
Hittites.
None of Africans.
Parasites.
Read.
Jebusites.
Right.
The Moabites.
Asians.
Egyptians.
Africans.
And Edomites.
Esau. Idumean. The red man. Right? These are some of my enemies, right? Let's go to Psalms 83. Y'all know these precepts. They must be brought out. You know, if it's a heritage, you gotta know who your enemy is too, right? There it is. Okay. Read it out.
Start at the top.
83rd
Psalm, first verse. Keep not thou silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
They say thy enemies make a tumult. That's an angry gathering, right? So they gathering together, right? And they lifted up their head against us. And they did what? Verse 3.
Verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
What counsel?
Crafty counsel against thy people.
These people are sleek and slithering like snakes. They taking crafty counsel, right? They don't push together. They don't push some stuff together. You hear me? Right? This is talking about the EUs and all the other nations that come together. We ain't have no seat at the table. We don't have a seat at the table with these folks. Read.
And consulted against thy hidden ones.
And consulted against who?
Against thy hidden ones.
We the hidden ones, Israel, trying to wake up. Read.
They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation.
Let's cut them off from being a nation. Let's just stripped them from their heritage. And that's exactly what they did. These scriptures come to life when you understand what's going on. Read up.
They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
Now we walk around here, we just good niggas, right? We just Mexicans, we just Haitians, we just Jamaican, all these different bywords, right? Read on,
Verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent.
They consulted together with one consent. Who are the people that consulted with one consent? Read.
They are confederate against thee.
They what?
They are confederate.
Confederate. They came, most I put it in our face. They confederate. Who the Confederate? Right? The Eagles. Read.
Verse 6. The tabernacles of Edom.
The tabernacles of Edom. So now let's get into the list of our enemies. Right? Now we can go in and we can recognize the biblical nationality of all these folks. All these people. Right? The tabernacles of Edom. The red man. Adumium, Esau. Right? Read.
And the Ishmaelites.
Ishmaelite. He was cast out, the son of the bondwoman. Right? The so-called Arabs. Right? The Muslims. Read.
Of Moab.
Of Moab. The Japanese man.
And the Hagarenes.
Hagarenes, Africans.
Gebal.
Not Africans.
And Ammon.
Right? Africans.
And Amalek. And Amalek.
Amalek. That's the fake Jews.
The Philistines with the inheritance of Tyre.
Right. That's the North Africans. So all these other people, all these nations of people came against us to make a tumult, a crafty counsel to knock us off and deceive us from the people we are. Right? They cut off for the name of Israel, be no more remembrance. The Most High is showing us who He is and showing who our enemies is. Knowing that this is our heritage. We must know moving forward who our enemies is and what the promises that the covenant that was made for us and what we must do to get these covenants, to remain under the Most High shadow of protection in these days that we're going to Jacob's trouble. It's time to grab our learns, right? Understanding who our enemies is. They had made, since the beginning, they had made a tumult against us. They know what's going on. The elite know. The lower level, they might not know. They might got an inkling, but they don't know. But the elite, they know what's going on. And it's time for us to know what's going on. That's why we're trying to wake our people up and bring them back to the marriage and understand this is a heritage, not religion. If you understand that this is a heritage, then you can, it makes it much easier to swallow. Because a lot of people have been lies and we go what thus says the Lord. We're not going on our own vain opinions and our own vain feelings. We're going to let the Most High. Lord be true and every man be a lie. Right? It's like, because we are that chosen. The Most High favored us. Right? And so we're gonna down on that. And I just want to bring out the Judah. Because when we keep these laws, statutes, commandments, the other nations know not to come bother us, right? This was our strength. This is our strength. Most High always was our protection when we was going through different things. So we're gonna go into the sister Judah in the trial that's in the Syrian captivity, right? And the nation was trying to come against us. We're gonna go to Judah, bring out this account. Gonna cut it down. Ain't gonna be long. Just want to bring this account out to better show y'all how the Most High fight for us and all these nations know that we keeping these laws, statutes, commandments. They ain't got a chance. They ain't got to fight. We ain't got to fight. We stand still and let the left side fight our battle, right? This is some easy protection, but we just got to listen. But we don't hearken. We don't want to listen. Let's bring this out. Proper precept before I go there. Because this precept right here, that's how they'll cut us off from being a nation. Let's go to Isaiah first. Slocking. Then we're going to go to Judah. That's on my spirit. I didn't even have this written down, but they hit me on it. That's how our people die for lack of knowledge, man. You got it?
Isaiah what?
1 and 3.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 1, verse 3.
famous street precept. But this is so true.
The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib. But Israel doth not know, my people doth not consider.
It says the ox knows his owner. These are two dumb and stubborn animals. The ox knows his owner. Ox is very dumb, man. And it says what? The ass know his master crib. So a jackass is stubborn. You can leave him a couple miles from home, and he'll make his way back home, right? The ox knows his owner, and the ass knows his master's crib. But Israel, we don't know, or do we even try to consider these things? We don't even try to even think, even ponder upon how we get in this position we in. We're just trying to be rich in this kingdom. We're trying to flourish in this kingdom. We don't even think about it. Regardless of who we is. We cool just being niggas. We cool just being Hispanics. We cool not having knowledge. And we're seeing that this wisdom and knowledge to be the stability of our time. These law statements is our knowledge and our stability. Right? This is how we're gonna make it about this whole hell we've been in. This whole hell. This whole hell we've been in. That look came together like that. Right? Get Hosea 4 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even have that written down either. Because we're talking about this knowledge. Wisdom and understanding.
The book of Hosea, chapter 4, verse 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God. I will also forget thy children.
Yeah, and that's what happened. The Most High, He removed His face from us for our lack of knowledge, for rejecting Him. He reject us. There will be no priest to Him, because we know that we a kingdom of priests and kings and priests. But if we're not keeping these knowledge, these law, statutes, commandment, that's where we fall off at. We fall every time when we fall away from the Most High. We lead ourselves into destruction. When He's our light and our shield and our buckler, right? Lead us out of darkness. We had an excellent class on the Sabbath, trying to come out this darkness into this marvelous light. Right? So we're going to go into the story of Judah. We're going to go into Judah 5, and we're going to start at 1, and we're going to read it down a few, just to give y'all a count on when we keeping those law, statutes, commandments, how strong our the Most High is. And it's a little history lesson for us, right? I'll give y'all a little history. The lesson real quick. It won't be long. It's a great story. I encourage y'all to read the whole book of Judah. If y'all haven't read the whole book, it's a quick read, and it's very powerful. Get used to this. Say 5. All right, Judah 5 and 1. It's like Israel. So I ain't got my sword with me. My main weapon. We ready? I'm ready when you're ready, y'all.
The book of Judith, chapter 5, verse 1. Then was it declared to Holofernes, the chief captain of the army of Assur, that the children of Israel had prepared for war, and had shut up the passages of the hill country, and had fortified all the tops of the high hills.
Okay, stop right there. So at this time, the king Holofernes, the chief captain of Syrian, he's going through all the nations. He's making a decree that everybody would bow down to him, that he would be the God of them, all the nations, right? So he's saying this decree over, and he went and destroyed a lot of different nations. But then he coming to the children of Israel. He working his way down through all the nations, going west, all the way through, right? And so we're going into him coming into Israel. And then when it came to Israel, we were forfeit, right? High forfeit hill, the top of the hills of the mountain, right? We had to come into the city. We had to read on, Lord.
And had fortified all the tops of the high hills, and had laid implements in the campaign countries, wherewith he was very angry, and called the princes of Moab, and the captains of Ammon, and all the governors of the seacoast.
Slow down. So you see, so now we know who Moab is, right? He said, well, then he was very angry. He called the prince of Moab. So he called these other nations Moab, which is the Chinaman, and Ammon is the Japanese man, right? Read on.
Verse 3. And he said unto them, tell me now, ye sons of Canaan, who this people is.
He's trying to figure out who these people is. So that's what he calling to ask him. And then we're finna go to account. He finna show you what his people is. Read on.
That dwell in the hill country. And what are the cities that they inhabit? And what is the multitude of their army?
So he trying to see exactly, he's getting a scout. Let me know what's going on with their army. What their army look like. What's in their city? Read.
And wherein is their power and strength? And what king is set over them, or captain of their army?
They're sending out spies. That's what they do to the present day. They send out spies. They're watching us. They're watching us. We talk right now. Read on.
Verse 4. And why have they determined not to come and meet me, more than all the inhabitants of the west?
I tell you why they sound like me, because we're gonna serve our God and our God only. That's what we knew. We wasn't bowing down to none of it. No other God. All right, read on.
Then said Achior, the captain of the sons of Ammon, let my Lord now hear a word from the mouth of thy servant, and I will declare unto thee the truth concerning this people, which dwelleth near thee, and inhabiteth the hill countries, and there shall no lie come out of the mouth of thy servant.
So Achim said he gonna go in and he said he gonna see, let you know what's going on, right? Read.
This people are descendant of the Chaldeans,
The history.
and they sojourned heretofore in Mesopotamia, because they would not follow the gods of their fathers.
That's right.
Read. Which were in the land of Chaldea. For they left the way of their ancestors, and worshiped the God of heaven.
How much? The Yahweh, right?
The God whom they knew. So they cast them out from the face of their gods, and they fled into Mesopotamia, and sojourned there many days. Then their God commanded them to depart from the place where they sojourned, and to go into the land of Canaan, where they dwelt, and were increased with gold and silver, and with very much cattle. But when a famine covered all the land of Canaan, they went down into Egypt and sojourned there.
So that's going into what? Joseph, right? The well with Pharaoh. And he had stored up the family, and all the brothers who came down, and they ended up joining in Egypt. I know the history on that, right? So they're giving a rundown of the history. Read on.
While they were nourished and became there a great multitude, so that no one could number their nation.
And that's what scared Pharaoh, because we came to a great multitude, right? So he gave them a rundown of our history. Read on.
Therefore the king of Egypt rose up against them,
right,
and dealt subtly with them, and brought them low with laboring in brick, and made them slaves.
Read.
Then they cried unto their God, and he smote all the land of Egypt.
They cried unto their God, and what?
Then they cried unto their God, and he smote all the land of Egypt with incurable plagues. So the Egyptians cast them out of their sight. And God dried the Red Sea before them, and brought them to Mount Sinai, and Kadesh, and Barnea, and cast forth all that dwelt in the wilderness. So they dwelt in the land of the Amorites, and they destroyed by their strength all them of Esabon, and passing over Jordan, they possessed all the hill country. And they cast forth them, the Canaanite, the Pharisite, the Jebusite, the Shechemite, and all the Girgasites.
Right.
And they dwelt in the country many days. And whilst they sinned not before their God, they prospered.
Right? What? Hold on. Read that again.
And whilst they sinned not before their God, they prospered.
So they sinned it. They sinned it. But they don't sin not before their God, they prosper. We don't understand. We keep these law, statutes, commandments. That's where we prosper at. We keep the law, statutes, commandments. We come back to our heritage. This is where we overcome at. That's when we stand still and let the Lord fight our battle. This is where our strength is. And the other nations know our history. They knew what a lot of us don't know. Right? Read on.
Jude 5:17.
Right.
And whilst they sinned not before their God, they prospered, because the God that hateth iniquity was with them.
Our God hated iniquity. And that's why he frowned down on us in the predicament we in now. Because we choose death rather than life. Read,
But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles, very sore.
So when they departed from the ways, what happened?
But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles, very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs. And the temple of their God was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies.
You see that? You see how they go? When we keep the law, statutes, commandments, we up on high. But when we want to do the things of the other nations, that's when we fall very sore. And we go into captivity. Like we in the captivity today, and we don't have a temple. Our temple has been in shackles and rambled, cast down. Right? These are accounts that happen to us. These nations, they're giving a report on where our strength lies at. We don't.
Judith 5:19. But now they are returned to their God, and are come up from the places where they were scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people, and they sin against their God.
Hold on, if there be what?
If there be any error against this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin.
It should be their ruins. This is where you fall off at. This is where we get them at. If we keep them in sin, if we keep them celebrating their birthdays, we keep celebrating all these false idolatries, if we keep them not keeping their feast days, they keep them thinking they're the Gentiles, right? Keep thinking that God loves everybody. Get them thinking that they can do whatever, just say, just call on Jesus, he gonna save us, we gonna be good, right? They keep them away from their knowledge. This is gonna be their ruins. That's why they make these crafty councils, the angry tumults to come against us, because they know these things. It's time for us to wake up and understand what's going on. How long you gonna play the fool, right? Read on,
Jude 5:20. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against this people,
any error. So we got to come back and get our garments white. We got to come back and proclaim the name of our God, Yahweh, and his son, Yahweh Shai, right? Who that's been that lamb for us to be, for we get our sins, for remission of sins, right? And don't take this grace for granted, because your grace will run out. Read on,
if there be any error against this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them.
You hear that? They see that we down bad, that we got away from our God, we gonna overcome, and that's what happened to us. We overcome right now, right? Read 21,
verse 21. But if there be no iniquity in their nation.
But there be no iniquity in this nation, what happens,
let my Lord now pass by.
Man, leave them folks alone. Don't bother them. They got their God fighting for them. What? The God of heaven and earth? The creator? That's all you want to do is listen to him, follow him, do his will. He said his commandments are not grievous. Every commandment that he gave us is for our upbringing, right? It's to build us up. It's not to hinder us. He tell us not to eat shellfish. Why? Because I made that shellfish to be The God disposes of the sea.
That's right.
That's the filtration system. Don't eat that. That's not good for you. You royalty. You don't eat that. The hog, I made that to do a certain job. Don't eat that. That's not for you to eat. These things are not to hurt us. Oh man, I love me some bacon. Man, I gotta get bacon up. Yeah, get that bacon up. You got gout, diabetes, all these different illnesses come from that, right? So when you understand come back to law, it's not to hurt you, it's to sustain you. The wisdom not to sustain you. Understand this is our heritage. This is a beautiful thing. We can come back and keep these laws, statutes, commandments. Read 21 from the top again,
The book of Judith, chapter 5, verse 21. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them.
Defend them. Defend us, Most High.
And their God be for them.
Right?
And we become a reproach before all the world.
You see how they turn around? Now y'all become a reproach. The other nations become a reproach. Right? And we stand for our God. And our Most High is going to recompense us, evil upon our evil. Right? That time is coming. But first, he waiting on. We feel like we waiting on God, but he waiting on us.
That's right.
This is our time to get back right. This is our time to come back into this covenant, right? This is our time to come back and be in the fold, or let you be left behind and be done 2/3. He waiting on us to get right, right?
That's right.
I'm on Israel. Y'all stay encouraged. Y'all get ready for these feast days. We're gonna serve and enjoy the joyfulness and gladness of heart, right? I love this precept here. We're gonna wind it down. I'm not gonna hold you long. You know who the chosen seed line is. Let's give it 2 Ezra 5 and 23. Just show you how much large. I'll say second. Because our God favored us. We're the lot of his inheritance. This is our inheritance. If you sustain yourself, you get there and get this inheritance. Many called, few are chosen.
You said 2 Ezra 5 and 23.
Come on, I'll take Ezra 5 and 23.
The book of 2 Ezra, chapter 5, verse 23. And said, O Lord, thou that bearest rule of every wood of the earth, and of all the trees thereof.
And hold on. So we're going into it. He say, that bear rule of every wood of the tree, of the earth, Shalakia, and all the trees. But he chose what?
Thou hast chosen thee one only vine.
And out of all the trees, the vine is his favorite. So they say, y'all know God. What's his favorite tree? Vine. Read on.
Verse 24. And of all lands of the whole world, thou hast chosen thee one pit.
He chosen one pit.
And of all the flowers thereof, one lily.
The lily is his favorite flower. What else?
And of all the depths of the sea, thou hast filled thee one river. And of all builded cities, thou hast hallowed Zion unto thyself.
That's us, Zion. Out of all the cities, Zion. Read.
Verse 26. And of all the fowls that are created, thou hast named thee one dove.
The dove.
And of all the cattle that are made, thou hast provided thee one sheep.
The sheep, right? The lost sheep. We the lost sheep. It's time to get back to the fold. Read on.
Verse 27. And among all the multitudes of the people, thou hast gotten thee one people. And unto this people whom thou lovest, thou gavest a law.
They gave us what?
Thou gavest a law.
We got to keep these law, statutes, commandments, Israel. Come back to our heritage. These law, statutes, commandments is our heritage. Right? Read.
Thou gavest a law that is approved of all. And now, O Lord, why hast thou given this one people over unto many? And upon the one root hast thou prepared others? And why hast thou scattered thy only one people among many?
Most High scattered us among many because of our disobedience. But he chosen us to bring us back to this marriage. So Israel bid y'all to come back to the marriage, enjoy this thing feast days coming up. We got to take the thing joyful and glory to the heart, right? And with that, I'm gonna get a law. We're gonna close it out. Man, I hate to use the same law we use, but that we gotta come up out of these nations though. Might do a repeat. Got a law for us out?
I like what you pulled out earlier. Deuteronomy 4.
4 and 6.
5 through, I say 5 through 9, and that's him.
Bring it out.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgment, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it.
That's right.
Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. For what nation is there so great, who hath God so nigh unto them, as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for? And what nation is there so great that have statutes and judgments so righteous as all this law, which I set before you this day? Only take heed to thyself, and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen, and lest thou depart from thy heart all the days of thy life. But teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons.
So we gotta teach our sons and our sons' sons. They go into our daughters, our children, everything. We gotta keep these law, statutes, commandments. Our heritage, right? The wisdom, knowledge, and understanding is our stability of our time, right? All right, with that, I'm gonna say shalom, and I thank y'all for listening. Hope y'all was edified. Sorry for the fumbling of the phone. So y'all, we at Battle Axes. We really appreciate y'all for sending your arms in and being diligent, right? So with that, say shalom.
Shalom.